afternoon, evening, wherever you are, and welcome to Global Atheist News Roundup, dateline the 14th of October 2023. This week's headlines. Israel's Prime Minister says Israel is at war with Hamas following their invasion. Expatriate Palestinians rejoice in Western cities. A little girl wishes death for her and her family on Iranian national TV. A teacher was killed in France in a school stabbing. Catholic and Church of England primary schools in England take fewer SEND pupils. A primary school fails to tell its parents that the Academy Trust is going to adopt is run by Church of England, and all of the trust schools are faith schools. A school resists the Church of England's attempt to evangelize. LGBT Ugandans are tortured, starving, and evicted due to the new anti-gay law. The Iranian woman who was jailed for rights work wins a Nobel Peace Prize. And take a look at an African Christian service. We start by going to our Islamic correspondent. Welcome, Momus.
Hello all, Momus Najim here with news from the Islamic world. Last Saturday, dozens of Hamas gunmen from Gaza infiltrated southern Israeli communities after dawn under the cover of heavy rocket fire. They captured Israeli soldiers and civilians and took some back to Gaza as hostages. Israel has responded with a wave of airstrikes on Gaza. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said Israel was at war and vowed that Hamas, which rules Gaza, would pay an unprecedented price. The Israeli military has mobilized tens of thousands of reservists and is now expected to launch a ground operation in Gaza. Many phone videos show atrocities being committed. Here is an early example of Palestinian gunmen driving from Gaza into Israel. A music festival in the desert was shot up as the partygoers fled, leaving 260 dead.
All the way people were dying, all the way on the road. Young people. It's a festival for young people. Many people were dying in the road. Whoever tried to run away, they were shooting him from both sides. So best were to hide.
A terrified Israeli girl is kidnapped on the street in this video. In cities elsewhere in the world, Palestinian expats could be seen celebrating the action of Hamas. This first video is from an unknown location. The second and third video are from London. The next video is from New York.
We're done being tortured and hurt and judged. This is the correct religion. This is the religion that all of humanity needs to be a part of, Islam. And we will not stop until it enters every home. So I want you to repeat after me. I want to hear it in every single district. It should tremble. Brooklyn should hear it. The Bronx should hear it. Queens should hear it. Say it as if the Ummah depends on this, my brothers and sisters. La ilaha illallah. There's no God worthy of worship except Allah, the God of Jesus, the God of Moses, the God of Abraham, and the God of the last and final Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam.
This video is from Chicago. And this video is from Berlin. And a more civilized parade in Manchester.
One solution. One solution.
The USA and the UK have sent naval and air forces to the Eastern Mediterranean. In other news, on Iran's national TV, a young girl's wish for martyrdom uncovers deep-rooted religious indoctrination prevalent in Iran. Watch this video.
She was praying basically to Hussein, asking Hussein to make her father's dream come true. What is her father's dream? So her father's dream is to become a martyr. So she basically is praying to Hussein for her father to die. So this is her wish.
Oh boy.
That's her prayer.
Wow.
Yeah.
A teacher has been killed and 2 people have been seriously injured in a knife attack at a school in France, officials say. Interior Minister Carole Darminon said the attack happened at the Gambetta High School in the northern city of Arras at about 11 a.m. local time. The attacker has been arrested and is now in custody. According to witness, he shouted Allahu Akbar, meaning God is great, during the attack. The person killed was a French language teacher. Those injured were another teacher and a security guard. The man, described as being in his 20s, is of Chechen origin and known to the security services for his involvement with radical Islam, according to police. French media reports say he was a former pupil at the school. The French Anti-Terror Prosecutor's Office says it has opened an investigation following the attack for murder in connection with a terrorist enterprise. Back to you, John.
Thank you, Momus. Since you sent me your report, Israeli authorities have announced they have had 1,300 deaths, and the Palestinian number is about 2,000. In other news, the National Secular Society has said faith schools are failing to serve our diverse communities after new research found that Christian primary schools are less likely to admit children with special educational needs and disabilities, SEND. According to research published yesterday by the London School of Economics and Political Science, faith-based primary schools admit fewer children with SEND than local authority community primaries. Dr. Tammy Campbell, who authored the research, concluded that many Church of England and Catholic primary schools serve as hubs of relative advantage, seeming disproportionately to serve children from more affluent families and children less likely to have special educational needs. The paper builds on previous research that suggests faith schools tend to educate proportionally fewer children from low-income families. About 28% of children in England's state-funded primary schools attend faith schools, predominantly CofE and Catholic. CofE and Catholic schools have exemptions from equality law which allow them to prioritise children based on the religiosity of their family in their admissions criteria. This is a practice widely criticised by children's rights advocates, including the National Secular Society and the United Nations Committee on the Rights of the Child. A school has given highly misleading information to parents about its plans to join a faith-based academy trust, the National Secular Society has warned. Uplands Primary School in Sandhurst told parents that none of the schools in the Keys Academy Trust, TCAT, which the school plans to join, are faith schools, but all 10 schools in the trust are Church of England schools. TCAT is a Church of England trust working in partnership with Oxford Diocese. The NSS wrote to Uplands Primary's Board of Governors after being contacted by multiple parents concerned about a consultation on the plan to join TCAT. The NSS urged governors to rerun the consultation with much greater openness about the faith-based nature of TCAT and its current schools. The consultation closed last week. A letter to parents dated the 26th of September responded to parents' questions about the school retaining its community identity with, "We hope that we have reassured you that none of the schools in the TKs are faith schools." This is a common misconception. All schools that join the Keys retain their original status, they claimed. The NSS said this statement is highly misleading because every one of the 10 schools in TCAT is registered with the Department of Education as having a designated religious character of Church of England. The NSS added it was misleading to state that all schools that join the trust retain their original status because it could lead to some parents thinking that the schools in TCAT were community schools before joining and have remained community schools since joining. But in fact, all 10 schools were C of E before they joined. Parents told the NSS that letters from the school regarding the consultation do not mention that TCAT is a C of E trust. A school in Surrey will not be participating in a Church of England evangelism project. The NSS wrote to Jubilee High School in Addlestone, Surrey, last month, after the Diocese of Guildford said it planned to involve the school in its Youth Catalyst project. Jubilee High School does not have a religious character. The project would entail youth ministers coming to the school to hold religious activities, including termly worship events and providing a bridge into local church where effective small groups will be running to develop the faith of young people, according to a promotional video released by the diocese. But the school has now informed the NSS that it shall be declining this project. In its letter, the NSS said parents choosing the school will reasonably expect the education it provides to be inclusive and secular in nature, and many will have sent their children to that school specifically due to its non-religious ethos. It pointed out that the diocese has not stated how the Youth Catalyst project will benefit the education or welfare of schoolchildren. The promotional video for the Youth Catalyst project said the church has an ambition to see the number of young disciples doubled by the year 2030. The Church of England says it aims to double the number of children converting to Christianity by creating and embedding strategic partnerships between churches and schools. In Uganda, less than 4 months on from the Anti-Homosexuality Act being signed, gay and trans people are starving, homeless, and facing increasing persecution as violence, arrests, and evictions treble. In May, the Ugandan President, Yoweri Museveni, signed the bill, described by the UN as among the worst of its kind in the world, to outlaw all forms of LGBT plus expression. Museveni has since called for the rest of Africa to follow Uganda's lead, with officials in Kenya already campaigning for stricter laws against these communities. Yet ITV News has now heard reports of torture, starvations, and beating, as Ugandan LGBT plus people say they are on the run in their own country and being forced into hiding. Those testimonies come as new figures released on Thursday document 306 human rights violations and abuses against LGBT plus persons in Uganda since the start of this year. See this video.
Imagine losing your home, being beaten, even being tortured because of your identity.
One of my friends was beaten with over 80 strokes.
Do you dislike homosexuals?
Of course, they're disgusting. 3 months ago, Uganda brought in some of the harshest laws affecting gay people in the world, the Anti-Homosexuality Act.
ITV News has evidence of gay men being beaten, starving to death after being forced into into hiding. What do you have to say to that?
Those in favor say aye, to the contrary, nay. The ayes have it.
It's nicknamed the Kill the Gays Bill. It includes life imprisonment for committing the offence of homosexuality and the death penalty for what the government call aggravated homosexuality.
Life has become a living hell. It is like hell on earth. Sometimes we go 3 days without food.
This group had to flee their villages after the act was passed.
There was a time when we were in a shelter and it was set on fire. I'll never forget it. I was so scared that night. A village mob rose up against us and they promised to beat us up and even slaughter us.
Under the new law, it is essentially illegal to knowingly rent to anyone from the LGBT plus community in Uganda.
We lost our jobs. We lost our livelihoods. We are living in fear and panic.
They are now in hiding, all living in just one room.
We're like people on the run in our own country because it is a crime to love who you want to love.
Violence, evictions, and arrests have trebled since the law came into force. There are even new reports of torture.
Is it right that you can be sentenced to death for being gay in Uganda?
But this is only the beginning. LGBT plus people's rights are under threat across Africa. Uganda's President Museveni called for all of Africa to follow Uganda's lead.
We are like refugees in our own country. We are being persecuted over something that is natural, for something that is within me. It is who I am. There is nothing that can change that.
When ITV News put the allegations to Uganda's Vice President, Jessica Alupo, as she arrived at the UN General Assembly last week, she simply turned and smiled. Imprisoned Iranian human rights activist Narges Mohammadi has won the 2023 Nobel Peace Prize. Announcing the decision, the Norwegian Nobel Committee said Ms. Mohammadi, 51, was honoured for her fight against the oppression of women in Iran. Her struggle has come at a tremendous personal cost, Committee Chairwoman Berit Reiss-Anderson said. Ms. Mohammadi is currently serving a 10-year jail term in Iran's notorious Evin prison in the capital, Tehran. Iran's foreign ministry said the award was biased and in line with the interventionist and anti-Iran policies of some European countries. US President Joe Biden called on the Iranian government to free Ms. Mohammadi as he praised her unshakable courage, while French President Emmanuel Macron said she was a freedom fighter. Finally, take a look at the mysterious power of Christianity in this video.
Oh, no, no! Oh, no! Oh, no, no! Oh, no, no! Oh, no, no!
And stay on this channel to watch Tercia and I chat with guest Professor Gisbert Jugendorn. He's a tourism geographer and is looking at how climate change might affect the industry. You can join in. It's a live show. And don't forget to watch Views on the News, the show where our opinionated panel give their views on the items I have just reported about. This has been Global Atheist News. Please like, share, subscribe, and thank you for watching.